week I'm going to be building this freestanding pantry with pull-out drawers. So if you want to see how I do it, then stick around. I purchased all of the material for this project at the Home Depot. And if you would like to help out my channel, then feel free to check out thdcard.com/April. Just by visiting the link, you help support what I do. I started this project off by using my track saw to break down the sheets of plywood into more manageable sized pieces so that I could then move to the table saw and finish breaking them down. And by the way, I am loving my outfeed table. Throughout this entire project, I'm going to be using glue, a countersink bit, and some screws. I took both of the sides and started adding pieces to the bottom to create a frame of sorts so that I could have something to attach a bottom to. I continued building the body by adding on a top, then also cutting and attaching a center divider. Have I already mentioned that I love my outfeed table? It's very nice having a taller and larger work surface in the shop. However, Cody got home and helped me move it down to the ground so that I could have an easier time making sure that the center divider went in nice and straight. And it's really important that it does go in straight since I'm going to be attaching sliders on all of the drawers. At this point, I grabbed the joint compound and filled in the exposed screw heads, as well as any flaws in the plywood. And this is a very quick and easy way to get a nice smooth surface for painting. And while the body was on the ground, I went ahead and attached the back, but then went ahead and applied 2 or maybe actually 3 coats of paint before moving forward. With the body done, I moved on to making the drawers. Again, using my track saw to first break down the larger sheets of plywood. And since I made a cut list, I went ahead and cut all of the pieces I'll need for the drawers at one time. Now with so many pieces to keep track of, my kind of method to keep the madness down is to group them together before getting started. So like all of these pieces are the side pieces, these are the fronts, and then these are going to be the backs. Now I typically use a single blade whenever I cut in the dados for drawers, but since I have so many, I went ahead and put in a dado stack, but you can do this very easily with a single blade. I'll go ahead and leave you a link in the description to the video I used to learn how to make drawers, so that you can check it out if you're interested. After cutting in all of the dados, I set up a temporary fence with my miter gauge and cut in a small angle on all of the drawer sides, just for, I guess, aesthetic purposes. But then I moved on to the assembly of the drawers as well as a few coats of paint. Once I had the drawers drying, I moved to attaching the sliders to the body so that once the drawers were completely dry, I could install them and make sure that everything worked properly. Next, I moved on to making 2 can rack rotators. Instead of having 2 drawers just dedicated to storing canned goods, I decided to build 2 can rack rotators as drawers themselves. If you aren't familiar with a can rack rotator, it's just a way to organize your canned goods so that 1, you can easily see what you have, and 2, it keeps your oldest purchased canned good at the front so that it's the first you grab. And as you can see, it's just essentially a rectangle with dividers. And I'm using a scrap piece of wood that's just a little bit wider than a can as a spacer to make aligning these dividers easier. And before moving forward, I did roll a can through each space just to make sure I got the spacing correct. But then I moved on with the assembly by adding a bottom and then also building a drawer for the entire thing to sit on. And you can see here how it works. You set your can at the top and it rolls back and down and then moves forward. After a quick coat of paint, or actually, these were not quick at all. I should have painted them before assembly, but I attached the sliders and it worked perfectly. Now, there's always a few bottles of wine floating around the house, so to make storing these easily, I grabbed a Forstner bit and drilled a few holes in a board, then went to my table saw and cut it in half to make 2 boards. I used a larger semicircle and my bandsaw to cut out the pieces that will hold the butt of the bottle. Then I moved over to the spindle sander to clean up both of these pieces before assembly. But then I started attaching everything together. And on these, I didn't bother with screws. I just used glue and brad nails. I made 2 drawers, and each one can hold 5 bottles of wine. And by using full extension sliders, I can pull the drawer all the way out to access the bottle at the very back if needed. Alright, moving on to the last portion of the pantry. I decided to add in a divider shelf, and this definitely would have been easier to add in at the beginning, but sometimes that's just part of building. To make life a little bit easier, I did paint it and install the sliders before attaching the shelf to the body. And just a tip, sometimes when I'm working in tight spots like this, I attach a swivel socket to my drill. However, sometimes the assembly can get rather long. With this particular Triton drill, you can remove the chuck and it shortens the overall length of the drill. It's very handy. So I attached the divider and then made 2 additional drawers, and these are going to be designated to hold boxes. With all of the drawers now made, I started making the face plates. And after getting them all cut, I decided to go to the router table and add in a simple profile. So I switched out my work table attachment with my router table attachment and cut in a simple chamfered profile along all the edges. After a quick coat of paint, I started installing them. And don't forget, if you like what I do on this channel, then check out thdcard.com/April. Again, just visiting the link helps me out. Now, I'm not building a door for this just because of the room that in the house that it's going into. It's kind of small, but you could very easily add either 1 big door or even 2 small doors. Now, if you would like to build your own, then I do have a set of plans on my website at wilkerson.com, and there is a link for you in the description. But it's just kind of a multifunctional pantry. The drawers with the different varying side heights on it, the can rack rotators for canned goods storage. Of course, 2 drawers for wine storage is gonna come in handy, and then 2 drawers for boxes. That way you can pull the door out and look along the side to see what boxes you actually have. So that's it for this one. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.